It's the day that the Lord has made. Nothing to see like the top down. Oh, there's nothing wrong with living right now. So it's not wasting another day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to Juno the Vibes. Make sure I like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to everybody watching the videos and sharing the videos, commenting, and just engaging. I kind of want to talk to y'all, just like a sit down and really just like vent. And I was just like reading my journal. This is why it's really good to have a journal, y'all. You can get one from Ross, Five Below, wherever, just to track your spiritual journey, or just life in general, your ups and downs. And always journal when you feel like you need a vent. Journal daily, weekly, monthly, whatever works for you. But I was just reading some of my entries and I was just like, wow, like some of the stuff I'm reading, you can tell like I was just in a certain space spiritually and mentally. Some of the stuff, it just gets deep. Like there's no way that I could have done that with my human, like my human mind. Like this has to be from the spirit. This stuff that I wrote, some of this stuff is from the spirit. So I want to like just read something that I wrote. This was like back in April. I like talked to God on my entries and stuff, and I was just kind of talking about how like, you know, I'm sorry for, you know, falling back into sin when I fall back into sin, because we all, you know, we have mistakes. But it's just about picking your cross back up and going at it like never before, not giving up. And you know, we only lose when we give up, like I spoke about before. Like God doesn't give up on us, so as long as we keep going, you know, God got us. He got our back. And then I just really want to talk about this one thing I wrote. I said it hurts God when he sees us suffer, just like it hurt when he saw his son tortured on the cross, and right before he got tortured on the cross. Because they, you know, they put a crown of thorns on his head. They mocked him. They made fun of him, you know. And the whole time he was sent to earth, you know, from our creator. You know, he's God in human form. And God had to watch all this, even though he had a plan. He knew it had to be fulfilled for a purpose. The pain ended up being for a purpose. And I just feel like also when we go through stuff, God really doesn't like to see us go through it. Most of the time we do it to ourselves, y'all. And I really do feel like it literally like breaks his heart. You know, it even Jesus, you know, when he was praying, they said that he started sweating like blood. Like he had to have like be so anxious and so scared and sad, but he did what he had to do because he knew that it was to fulfill the purpose. You know, it was just all part of the plan to begin with. So, you know, if you watch my testimony videos, you know that I was in the psych ward and I like suffered. I had a lot of suffering, you know, leading up to that experience, and then getting Baker acted and being there for the 3 nights and just going through what I went through. I know God was just, you know, he had his hand on me the whole time, but I know that it had to have hurt him. Like he doesn't want to see his children fail at life. He doesn't want to see us go through certain things, but he knows it's for a purpose. And he knows with us going through what we went through, if we come out on the other side and we choose him, he knows that our testimony will lead others to him as well. So the pain always fulfills the purpose. So pain equals purpose. And I just like, I don't want y'all to ever feel like you're in this alone, because you're not. That's why you should surround yourself with friends as well. And I do feel like God also, he places people in your life, whether that's friends and family members or whatever, to be there in human form for us, to console us and be there for us. But don't ever forget that you literally have a best friend that you can speak to at all times, and that is God. When you don't feel like you have anybody else to talk to, like you always have God to talk to. He's always there. And it's hard because you cannot see him. I understand that. But the more you spend time in his word and the more you spend time with him, you'll notice him in everything you do. All the little things. Pain brings revelation. So sometimes when we're going through really hard stuff, like the trials and the tribulations, we realize certain things about our life. Like, have you ever had like an epiphany? You just start crying and like, you don't even know why you're crying. Like God just dropped something in your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like pain brings revelation. I went through so much pain even when I was in the psych ward, but I was getting so many revelations, y'all. Whenever the Holy Spirit came upon me and I started speaking in tongues and all that, I was getting visions after visions after visions. And it's like the enemy always has a plan too, because he's always going to try to slide his way in there, because, you know, they had put me on some type of medicine and it was making me forget and having me like have cloudy mind. I couldn't even remember my revelations. I'm trying to write down like what I'm going through. They don't have really pen and paper, so I'm writing down things with like markers because they had coloring crayons for us or whatever. So I'm trying to write down things on paper because I notice I'm a writer. Like, I'm a journaler. I like to journal things. When I wake up from my dreams, if I remember them, I will write them in my phone. Like, I'm gonna write in that notepad, I'm gonna write in the journal, I'm gonna write. That's one thing I'm gonna do because I don't want to forget stuff. But the medicine they had me on, it was just like just playing tricks on my mind. Like, I couldn't even remember all the revelations and visions I was getting from the Lord. And then like, I even asked them like, you know, do I have to take this medicine? And they're like, you don't have to, we can't force you, but you really should. And like, it was just weird. It was just like, I was seeing so much of this spiritual side of things, bro. Like, my eyes were open. It's just like I could see the darkness in so many people. You know, I'm not saying like there's something wrong with doctors and nurses. I'm not saying that. But I do feel like if you're a doctor and you're a nurse and you don't have, like, you're not tapped into your spiritual side and you don't have a relationship with God, like a true relationship with God. I'm not talking about the religious stuff. I'm talking about a relationship, you know, where he guides you and speaks to you and you speak to him. And, you know, you're walking the ways of the Lord. Like, I feel like even with therapists and stuff like that, when those type of jobs, when you're healing people, you need Jesus to heal people. Like, so yeah, that's my take on that. That was kind of off topic, but I wrote, when I was struggling in the hospital, God was hurt for me, but he knew it was for a greater plan. This was needed for the purpose. This was a part of the plan. I will break generational curses. I will break mental illness off my family. They will know it's a trick by the enemy, a curse on the life, but God is bigger and he already won. We just have to believe and accept Jesus as our Lord and Savior. The enemy can put us in situations that really hurt us, you know, and it may seem like we can't win the battle, but God is literally the beginning to the end. He's the end all be all. He already won the fight. He already won the battle. So it's really just a trick of the enemy in the mind. Like, it's a mind game and it's mind over matter. So you really just have to place your mind on God. Like, truthfully, y'all. And we just gotta, like, also just love one another. Like, I'm just really on a little, this is like a little mini rant or whatever. It's heavy on the love one another and truly loving, not like the fake love. Nah, I'm forcing it love. And it's gonna be a work, y'all. It's a working process. I'm still working on this. Because I can be easily irritated. I can be easily annoyed. And that is why it's good to isolate yourself sometimes. And feed your spirit. Get in the word. You know, sit in the presence of God. Because God is love. And when you sit in love, you learn to love. And it's just a beautiful thing. So you never want to take that stuff for granted at all. Yeah, love one another, y'all. We don't have much time here. And I just feel like the time we have is just very vital. Like, we really need to take opportunities seriously. We need to take, like, even just us passing somebody, you know, we're in the grocery store, a cashier or whatever, you know, be nice. Like, there's a scripture in the Bible, I gotta look it up, I put it on the screen, but it's about, like, you never know if you're encountering someone that is, like, literally an angel on earth. Like, you just never know. And that shouldn't be your reason, you know, to be nice and to love. You should just do that anyway. But yeah, you never know what somebody's going through, y'all. You could literally just give someone a compliment, like, I like your shirt, or I like your hair, or whatever, and you can literally uplift their day. Somebody could be on the way to harm themselves, you know. My therapist, I spoke about it on the channel before, but my therapist told me one time about a story. It was a guy, he was like on a bus, and he was literally saying, he was on the bus on the way to like a bridge or something like that, and he literally was saying, like, to himself, like, if somebody says something to me, if one person just talks to me, speaks to me, just says something, it doesn't even have to be something nice. He was just like, someone just speaks to me, period, you know, I won't do this. He was planning to jump off the bridge. And nobody spoke to him. Like, on the way, the bus ride there, nobody said anything to this man, and he jumped off the bridge. Thank God that he lived. You know, he lived to tell this testimony. And I feel like that was purpose. Like, pain equals purpose, bro. Like, that had to be painful. He survived, and I know it hurt, though. But it's like, that teaches us we really just need to love one another, bro. Like, love is the #1 commandment. Like, love yourself, love your neighbor, love God. This is so important, and I feel like it's a hard thing to do in this generation because people are just taught to be like, oh, I'm gonna match energy, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have revenge, I'm gonna do get back. Like, why are we like this? Let's not do that. Let's not do get back. Let's not match energy. Have y'all ever went off on somebody and felt bad directly after? Like, dang, well, why did I do that? You know, whether it was your child, whether it was a family member, whether it was a friend, whether it was a stranger. Like, have you ever felt that regret? When you want to live your life, like, more in love, if we loved more and we, you know, were more kind, we would not regret as much. I'm gonna tell y'all that much. I know it's easier said than done, but I feel like if we really do some self-reflecting and just really work inwardly, and I'm always gonna say, like, spend time with God. He will transform you from inside out, y'all. So it's just a process. Love is something that we're really missing. And I want to say one more thing while we're on this topic. I told y'all this is like a little vent session. I feel like I want to do these more often too. One thing I noticed is, like, one of the main things people say when they like, oh, I don't believe in God, you know, because if God was real, why are all these people getting raped and all this different stuff, and why are the mass shootings, why is this, why that? Something came to my mind when I was on the trails one day, and it all centers around love. If we all loved like Jesus, there would be complete peace in the world. Let that sit and marinate. If we all loved like Jesus, there would be complete peace in the world. There wouldn't be mass shootings. There wouldn't be people going through all this different stuff. And it all comes back to the root. It's a us problem. If we were doing our inner work and literally following the blueprint of life, the Bible, guys, then we wouldn't be going through all this. So if that doesn't even give you any more motivation to, like, spread peace, spread awareness, spread the gospel, teach people about Jesus, teach people to be kind and to love, like, you could be the movement. Like, we should all be the movement. This is why you should talk to anybody you know about this stuff. This is why you should just have fruits of the spirit. You should be kind. You should do these things. You know, you can point that all back to God. Like, how did you change? How are you like this? I'm gonna point it all back to God, because God gave me the strength. God changed me from inside out. It was spending time with God that did it. And it's like, if we could be more peaceful and we could be more loving and we could be more kind, there will be so much more peace in the world. Obviously, those people had some type of trauma to do these type of things. Like, this stuff, just, we're not born like just automatically. Like, we're creating God's image, right? And we are born into sin, don't get me wrong. But a lot of it is the environment and what we grew up in that transforms us to be these wicked people, these lustful people, these evil people, these greedy people, you know, all these things, these angry people. It has a lot to do with our environment, but don't let your environment be the reason why, you know, there's so much hate in this world, or that turns your heart to be a certain way, and now you got an attitude problem all the time. Now you're negative in the headspace all the time. Now you are so tormented mentally that you want to go out and do a mass shooting, or you want to do this and you want to do that, and you want to hurt everybody. You want to, you know, I don't know, just all these different things, y'all. It all comes back to us, you know, having something deep rooted in us that we have not worked on. You know, we need to do some self-reflecting, and we need to sit in the presence of the Lord. Because like I said, he can change you. Jesus is the secret recipe to life. I'm starting to think that's my slogan. Jesus is the secret recipe to life. Because he is. That ain't God. That was my main thing to say when I said that. You can't blame God and say there's not a God because of all these things, when God is sitting here telling us to read the Bible and be like Jesus. You know, if we would listen to God, because he gives us free will. He's not a puppet master. He cannot control us. So we have to do our part here on earth and make the right decisions, because when we don't make the right decisions, that's going to reflect on other people, because then you can end up hurting other people. It doesn't have to be physically. It could be mental abuse. It could be verbal abuse. It can be all these things, and you're hurting somebody and breaking them down, and now you're tearing them down instead of building them up. We need to be building each other up. That's that on that. That was my rant. I'm gonna come back with another rant in a few days, don't worry. But just make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and just really let that sit with y'all, because like, God literally doesn't want anything for us that harms us, you know. And there is a God. I've encountered God. Watch some testimonies, watch my testimony, and watch plenty more testimonies on YouTube. Like, as many as you need to. Like, he will do miraculous things just like he did back in the Bible. He still does today. Like, crazy miracles, things that you cannot believe unless you went through it, saw it, or heard about it and actually had faith and believed in it. Yeah, I love you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because you know the vibes. I'm out here getting bit up, but I love doing these videos out here in the nature with y'all. I pray y'all have a blessed day. I thank you for all the continued support on the channel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the videos to anybody you think could use it. Thank you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say, but no. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go to the nature trails and get grounded.
It's the day that the Lord has made.